Hello, my name is Ngozi Agwaziam, and you're welcome to the show, Cultural Perspective, the show that deals with different issues, diversities, and a lot of international issues. Today, we've got something really awesome prepared for you, and it's something that really affects a lot of people world over, that cuts across different cultures. It's something that is related to both male and female sex. Today, it's the Breast Cancer Awareness Month, and we're going to be talking about breast cancer. And today we have someone really, really important, someone here with us today, and she's Miss Teresa Duncan. Miss Teresa, you're welcome to the show.
Thank you for having me today.
Oh, it's really, we should be saying thank you for coming on the show. So, Miss Teresa, tell us about you. Let's meet Miss Teresa Duncan.
Okay, my name is Teresa Duncan. I am a breast cancer survivor. I was diagnosed at the age of 32, stage 2 breast cancer. Went through different treatment. At the time, my daughter was 5 years old, so it was a very, I guess, defining moment in my life, as well as the life of my daughter. But I am so excited to be here today just to bring awareness to breast cancer and to just also be an example and just let people know that breast cancer is beatable.
Yeah, I really love that one, breast cancer is beatable. So tell me, what do you do as a volunteer?
As a volunteer with Reach to Recovery, we receive referrals from the local doctor's offices. Dan and Linda Johnson will send out those referrals to the volunteers. We will take that information, contact the individual. We take information from that individual, and we pass that information on back to the doctor's office, just letting them know that we have made that contact so that they know that their patient has that support system. That support system has been put in place.
Okay, why is the Reach to Recovery program important to you? Why is the awareness important to you?
It's very important to me because when you are faced with a diagnosis as breast cancer, one of the first things that you think about is, well, in my case, it's, you know, am I going to beat this thing? And so then the next thing is, what do I do? Where is the information that I need? You know, what can help me? And so with Reach to Recovery, we're able to get materials to our patients that just basically go step by step. It explains what cancer is. It talks about the different types of diagnosis that are available. It talks about mammograms. It talks about self-examination. Right. So we have all of that information, and it puts it in words that are easy to read and that are easy to understand. I know that the doctors, you know, they do their best to put it in layman's terms, right. But when we have that information where we have it in a book and it's available, it's easy to read, it's easy to understand, and it gets you into contact with those people that you need to get in contact with.
Right. So what would you think is breast cancer?
Breast cancer, in simplest terms, is an abnormal growth of breast tissue. And that can be diagnosed. In my case, I was 18. I started self-exams when I was 18, and I found a very small lump in my breast. Went to the doctor. It was something he said, you know, we shouldn't worry about unless it began to grow. And so, like I said, that was high school, 18, and so it wasn't until the age of 32 that I noticed that lump began to enlarge, right. And so went to the physician, and from there did the ultrasound, the mammogram, and was diagnosed.
And did the doctor tell you like what the cause was?
Not exactly. One of the things that the doctor did tell me in my case, each case, you know, they're very forward in letting you know that each case is different. Even though it's a diagnosis as breast cancer. Several things. I was encouraged to avoid stress. I was also encouraged to eat fresh fruits and vegetables. Right. Fast food.
Fast food? Mm-hmm. Right.
Yes.
Wow.
To avoid consumption of fast food.
That's awesome. Well, we're just at the very beginning of this whole thing. There are a lot of things to learn about breast cancer, the causes, the whole experience, and you really want to know the next step after this. We'll be right back. We'll toss a break right now. Just don't go nowhere. See you soon.
There's a monster in my house. There's one on the couch. There's a monster on my bed.
Keep innocent things from triggering an asthma attack.
Please make the monsters go away.
Learn how to stop their asthma attacks at noattacks.org.
Oh, this isn't good. I was a gift from him to her. I'm going to the animal shelter, which isn't necessarily bad. I just hate the stigma associated with shelter pets. People will think I bite or that I spray everywhere. They're the ones with problems. I'm totally fine. Adopt me, you'll see. I'm gonna go pack.
I can't even believe you! And she has a mustache!
Did you buy the flashlight and the batteries?
Yes.
Did you make sure we're not missing anything in the first aid kit?
Yup.
Did you go through the plan with the kids again?
Yes. The more you prepare today, the more you'll be able to reduce the devastating effects of a tornado, an earthquake, a power outage, or any other disaster. Get a kit, make a plan, be informed. Visit ready.gov.
Show Cultural Perspective, and we're talking about breast cancer. So tell me, Ms. Duncan, what do you think? Do you think breast cancer is common to both sexes, or is just a woman thing?
Yes, it is. It can affect both sexes. It's said that, according to statistics,
Right.
that less than 1% of men will be diagnosed with breast cancer, and that will lead to 450 deaths in men. That's according to the 2011 statistics that I read. But yes, it does affect both men and women.
Do you think it's hereditary, or it could be transferred from one person to the other?
I don't think that it's contagious. I feel that it can be hereditary. In the case of breast cancer, there is a testing that can be done called the BRCA testing, which will let you know if that gene is in your genetics. And so I had that test done as well because my mother was diagnosed with breast cancer in August of 2001. And I was diagnosed in 2002. So we thought maybe that there might be that gene that was being passed along, but we had the testing done, and so that gene did not show up. So the doctor says, you know, my mother being diagnosed and myself being diagnosed, that it was just a fluke. So it wasn't hereditary in our case,
Right.
but in some cases.
Right, right. Okay, you know, this thing about breast cancer is something that cuts up across different cultures. It doesn't respect you whether you're black or white or
Right.
pink or yellow.
Yes.
It just, you know.
Yes.
Yeah. So tell us, what do you think are like the early stage, the things you noticed in the early stage of the breast cancer thing?
The things that I noticed in the early signs,
Yeah.
like I said, just the most important thing is doing the self exams, because the knot that I felt, you could not see it just to look in the mirror.
Right.
So that's one thing to look for, is to always do the self exams, because you could have something there and not see it until it begins to grow. And of course, the larger it grows in size, you know, that's a more advanced stage. So that's the first thing that I noticed, that was my first sign.
So the first thing you definitely notice is like the lump.
Yes.
So how did you notice the lump?
I just did the standing in the mirror and putting the one hand behind the shoulder, and then just doing the, going around, starting on the outer and moving into the inner. And then I also have this that shows us how to do a proper exam, which you can do it lying down or you can do it standing in the mirror. And so that's how I usually do those.
Okay. So with the Reach to Recovery program, is this some of the things you guys teach young girls and women?
That is some of the information that we send out to our individuals. When we do Reach to Recovery, we can do it several ways. We can actually go to the home of the individual if they are comfortable with us coming to the home and bringing this information. We have books that are available. We have the literature that's available, or we can do what is called a phone contact. And so, like I said, we'll call and we'll get the information from them and we'll send them information. So that way they'll have things, and those are really informative, right. And so it will give them information as well to questions that they may have.
Okay, the Reach to Recovery program, what is the relationship with the American Cancer Society?
It's a part of the American Cancer Society. The American Cancer Society has several different types of programs. Reach to Recovery is just one of those, but there is a lot going on. They do fundraising for Relay for Life, so there are several different areas, but if someone is wanting to get in touch with Reach to Recovery, they would call the the American Cancer Society 1-800 number, and then they would put them in contact with the local area.
Okay, with your case, with your experience, what kind of treatments would you think is available for breast cancer?
There are several different types of treatment that are available. In my case, I had the biopsy done. Once that was done, I chose to have a lumpectomy versus a mastectomy, which is the complete removal of the breast. The lumpectomy is they just remove the tissue that is damaged or cancerous. And so that was my route. Also, chemotherapy and radiation were the treatments that I chose, was the route that I chose.
Yeah, so there are a lot of treatments available for
Yes.
breast cancer. That means there is a very high percentage chance that someone's going to survive it.
Yes.
Right.
Yes.
It's breast cancer awareness, and I mean, there's a lot to learn. We'll be right back. Don't go nowhere. You still need to learn. We all still need to learn. Just sit back in there. See you soon.
The magical thing about using energy wisely is that anyone can do it. Turn off lights. Use energy-saving light bulbs. And turn off computers and game systems when not in use. Make a change and we can really fly. Grab a grown-up and go online to energy.gov/kids.
Every student needs encouragement to finish high school. Go to boostup.org to give Reagan and the students in your community the boost they need to make it through.
Even an Iraq vet like me who's in really good shape needs good health care, especially when it's top quality and convenient. And it's not just for men. In fact, aren't you a vet, Patricia?
Yeah, I served in the Air Force.
So why not come in today? When you check in, you'll get a full medical exam, first thing. Free for vets at the VA. So check us out and see you here.
It's the show Cultural Perspective with Ngozi Agwaziam, and we're talking about breast cancer. And with me here is Miss Duncan. Miss Duncan, thank you so much. You're doing a really great job.
Thank you so much.
Yeah, you are. You are. With the breast cancer, does the time you're being diagnosed for it affects the kind of treatment you get? Does it affect the possibility of you surviving it?
Depending upon what stage, the earlier that the cancer is caught, the prognosis goes up greatly. So it's very important, like I said, having this show to have young women and men to do the exams because if it's caught early, the better your chances are of survival.
Right, right. Okay, let me ask you this: what did you feel when you were diagnosed to have breast cancer? What was running through your mind?
My first initial thought, sitting in there in the doctor's office, when he came in to let me know, he said, I have good news and bad news. And I said, okay. He said, would you like the good news first or the bad news? And I said, well, let's have the bad news. And he said, well, actually, we found another lump in your breast. And so we, looked at that, and that was benign. There was no problem with that one. So the second one was cancerous, and so my initial thought was, okay, let's do what we have to do to get this taken care of. And so I think it's after you have time to go home and sit down and think about it, I think it begins to play on your mind a little bit. And so there was a little fear that came later because, like I said, my daughter was 5 years old at that time. And I wanted to be around to see her grow up.
Right. Right.
So initially it was just, okay, let's do what we have to do to get it taken care of. And then a little bit later, just fear of, what if I'm not here to see my daughter grow up. But luckily, everything worked out just fine, and my daughter is 14 years old now. So it's been a life-changing experience. But I tell you what, I have learned so many different things about myself, about life, about people, and so it's made me a better person because I don't dwell on the small things so much, because I realize the value of life and just how one day you're on your way and you're doing your thing and not a care in the world, and then the next day you're told, you have this disease. And so I've just learned to smell the roses along the way.
Yeah, right. So do you think survivors people were diagnosed with breast cancer and were treated, they could still live a normal life after the treatment?
You live a normal life. In my case, I would say that my quality of life is different. Just because of treatment. There are side effects to the treatment, and I won't go into my medical history or anything like that. But my quality of life is different. I tire still easily, even being this far out in treatment. Sometimes I have swelling in my arms, in this arm. And so there are, things that you deal with, but it's not anything that would, cause you to not want to get out of bed the next morning.
Right.
I mean, compared to being, diagnosed with this disease and then to come out on the other side of treatment, just dealing with those little aches and pains and things like that, it's nothing.
Actually, I would think the healing, first of all, comes from within.
Yes.
If you tell yourself, I have the strength to move ahead.
Yes.
Then you're good to go.
Yes. And my faith was a very big part. It played a very big part
faith.
In just coming through the treatment and being able to deal with the diagnosis, just having that support system from my church members, from my family members. But I think faith, in my case, played a very big part in just having the strength and the willpower. to get through this diagnosis.
That's awesome. That's awesome. I mean, I'm gonna just say kudos for that. Like, that's seeing you here, having you on the show, is just gonna give a lot of people the strength to move ahead, to push on, and like, I can do this. Yes. I can make it. Yes. Yeah, right. Yes. Okay, so with the Reach to Recovery program, like I say all this here, how do you guys reach out to people, and what do you give to them? How do you encourage them and stuff like that?
What we do, like I said, we make the initial contact. It's up to the individual whether or not they want us to visit them in their home. Those that choose to allow us in their home, you know, we can do light cleaning, you know, just ways to assist them. For those who choose to just do the phone contacts, you just call them periodically just to check on them, to keep them encouraged, to see what's going on with them, to see if they need any more information. Usually what we do for the ones who just want the phone contact, we mail that. We will make a packet, and usually in the packet, if it's someone recovering from having the total breast removal, we'll send this in the packet, and then of course they get all the literature that's here. One of the things that cancer survivors can, they can fill out a little form, and I think I fill this out in my doctor's office, and that way they're able to get this magazine, and the magazine has a lot of information that is very helpful and very useful. And then there are also individual stories in the cure book, and so they're just to encourage other individuals. And so that's some of the things that Reach to Recovery will send to the contacts.
And of course, it's still under the American Cancer Society.
Yes, ma'am.
Wow.
Yes, ma'am.
You guys are already doing a great job.
Yes, ma'am. Thank you.
We'll be right back. Stay tuned. Don't go nowhere. Still more coming your way.
Yo, check out this chef, right? Right? That's so gay. That's really gay. Dude, look at those pants.
Please don't say that.
What?
Don't say that something is gay when you mean that something is dumb or stupid. It's insulting. It's like if I thought this pepper shaker was stupid and I said, man, and this pepper shaker is so 16-year-old boy with a cheesy mustache. Just saying. When you say that's so gay, do you realize what you say? Knock it off.
Journalism is the first rough draft of history.
Journalism
is in fact history on the run.
Journalism is organized gossip.
Journalists are like dogs.
Whenever anything moves, they begin to bark.
A herald is an official messenger being news.
A person views
as a sign that something is about to happen.
A good newspaper
talking to itself.
My name is Sarah.
Jared.
Raven.
Sam.
Anna.
Trey.
Whitney.
Dula.
Molly. And I am the voice of the Herald.
We can all be energy savers. It's easy. Turn off lights. Use energy-saving light bulbs. And turn off electronics and appliances when not in use. Make a change and we can really fly. Learn more at energy.gov/kids.
Welcome back to the show, Cultural Perspective with Ngozi Agwaziam. And we have Ms. Duncan here with us, and she's taking us through on breast cancer awareness. Ms. Duncan, thank you so much. You're doing a really, really great job. All right, do you think there's any form of stigmatization that goes with it? Like, what was your experience?
I think, you know, sometimes you hear people talking, and, you know, sometimes you hear people say when they find out someone's been diagnosed with cancer is, you know, well, you know, well, they were just a mean person, or they did something wrong, you know, that it's, you know, somehow their fault.
No way.
And which that's not the case. And I think, you know, initially, like after treatment began, just dealing with some things, you know, there were some times I wondered, well, you know, why is this happening to me? You know, is it because I did something wrong? But of course, that had nothing to do with it. I think in some cases there can be, but I think a lot of times things are said out of ignorance. And so I think just being able to better understand what the disease is, how the disease is caused, that I don't, some people will continue to have that type of mind frame or thought process, but dealing with the people that I dealt with, I received nothing but loving kindness. But like I said, I leaned very heavily on my church family and then my own family during my time of treatment.
Okay, so what would you say to family and friends who have someone who's diagnosed with breast cancer? How would they help? How can they?
One of the biggest things is during treatment, there's a lot of tiredness. So if you can help them anyway with cooking, you know, with cleaning, just being an ear, you know, to have someone to talk to, just basically being there. It's good to know, you know, that if you need something, you have help available to you.
Right, right. Okay, with the Reach to Recovery program, do you guys organize events and programs where you educate younger people, younger girls, just educate people generally who are not yet diagnosed with, breast cancer, like create awareness on how to do the breast thing and all those stuff?
I am not sure at this time that we per se have a class where we, you know, bring young ladies in and teach them about, you know, self-exams and all of that. But the information is available, and if they have any questions or concerns, they can, you know, contact the American Cancer Society. The number is 1-800-ACS-2345, and, you know, they can get any information that they would like concerning self-exams and all of that.
Okay, and I think the website address is cancer.org.
Yes.
Right.
Yes.
Okay, so that's another useful
tool
yes, they could have. Yeah. Yeah. Okay, what would you want to say to people out there who's been diagnosed with breast cancer?
Don't give up hope. You have to have hope. Have your mind determined, and just believe that you can beat this. I think having a positive attitude is a very important part of treatment.
Right.
And just having a positive mind frame, and even when you have those times where it's really, really hard and you're struggling, just having that support system of positive individuals around you that are able to talk to you and bring you up when you're going through those low times.
Wow. Thank you so, so much, Ms. Duncan. You've really done a wonderful job, and thank you for educating us on breast cancer. I think you enjoyed that, and I think you learned a lot listening to this show. Thank you for being out there for us, and we'll always be there for you. It's Ngozi Agwaziam on Cultural Perspective. See you same time, same station next week.